Do you know that the PFAFF Creative Icon 2 can actually sew sideways? There's a whole bunch of stitches that are designed to stitch in 4 different directions. So what I want you to do is come all the way to the last menu titled Additional. And so in menu 9, but page 2, you will find what is called 4 direction stitches. So I'm going to touch the first one. As a straight stitch, you will see that it will bring up a direction that it's ready to stitch in. You'll also notice that your foot required is foot number 8. So that will be the foot I'm going to put on. This is designed for those big maxi stitches or anything sewing side to side. Make sure that the IDT is disengaged since there is not a groove in the back of the foot. So why would I even want to sew sideways? And why would I even want to sew sideways with one of these other stitches? Look at all the different ones. And once we start sewing, I'm going to show you how we can change it to go in the different directions. You could actually sew a square without turning your fabric at all. So here's what we can do. We can actually use this for patching some jeans. I mean, who wants to take the seam out of the leg so it will flatten out to actually sew a patch on or to mend in an area like that? No reason to do that now. You can just go ahead, take the accessory box off, slide the leg cuff around the free arm of the machine, and then you're stitching. You don't even, it's just easy, so much easier. But we could also use these decoratively. So any of these 9 stitches can be used in such a way. We also see, and you can see it up here, I'm going to minimize the menu, that there is a kind of a gray box indicating the reverse button will be used to change the direction. So you can touch here and you can see whatever's darkest is the direction it's going to stitch. If it's touching, yep, you can go to the left and then also in the away position. So you can touch this, and you can also touch on the head frame the same button. I'm going to do that. You watch the screen so you can see that it will also choose which direction. So you don't have to come all the way over here with your finger to change it. You can do it right where you're actually stitching. So I'd recommend just putting your foot on and start experimenting with how this is going to work. Now, to really keep everything straight, it might be a good idea to go ahead and draw some lines on your fabric. You could activate the projector and get the grid to show up so you can see that you're staying nice and even and accurately going in the direction you want. So here, if I touch the reverse button, now I'm going to be stitching towards myself. Stop whenever. Go ahead and touch that button again. Now it's stitching this way, and you can see what we are doing. I'm not going to try to line this up, but I'm going to just kind of go ahead. If I touch this a few more times so it comes back around, I could actually be going straight again. If you were following something, you could actually get it to go, just stitch until you reach that item that is marked on the fabric. And so you could go to about like that. And so what if we go ahead and pick some of these other stitches? Now you might have to experiment a little bit because some of these do have a stitch that has a little different pattern. So there's like some forward and reverse to it. And then when and where would be the ideal time to switch it to its new direction so you really get a good looking corner. So that will be something else I encourage you to try out. But you could actually have quite a fun decorative use. And notice I'm not having to turn my fabric at all. So here is what we could be playing with. This could have been a little piece of applique fabric in here that we were going around and just kind of overlocking the edges as we were stitching it. But you really can use this both decoratively as well as in a utility type manner. So I hope you'll try out, while stitching out your stitch book, you might as well try out all the decorative stitches in this menu. There are 9 of them to try, and you can go ahead and make like a little square of each one to really get a feel for how those corners are going to look. Remember, use that camera to project a grid so you can stay perfectly aligned as you're stitching in multiple directions. If you want to learn more about your PFAFF Creative Icon 2, the links below will take you to the entire playlist of every video that we have posted on this beautiful machine.